Welcome to Painted Studio. Ooh, spooky, spooky, spooky. You can tell I'm getting in to the Halloween and fall moods with my crazy little hat here, my little hairband that I bought in New Orleans, which I love. And it lights up and it sparkles and does all kinds of silly things. So while I can't keep this thing on to do the work, I'll have to change it, but we are going to keep in the seasonal mood. All right, I got to put this off because it's blinking on the camera and it's distracting me. So while I have really messy hair, we're just going to have to switch to another Halloween headband. Yes, we are. Here we go. I got to pull my hair back because I can't see, but we're just in a mood today, so I'm wearing headbands, yay. So there we go. Now I can actually see. My hair's pulled out of my face. I can put my glasses on. Yes, very festive. I am moving into the season. I collect these in New Orleans. I go to a place called Fifi Mahoney's, and she always has these killer headbands every year at Halloween. So we often are in there down there in the fall. So I'm pretending I'm in New Orleans today. All right. Now, to get into what we were actually going to be working on today, so clearly I'm in a seasonal mode and we're going to work on some seasonal things. I am going to share with you before we get into the painting what our next contest will be because it just presented itself to me today. As you all know, I'm a faux effects sub-distributor and I had arranged for one of the new faux effects Lusterstone Ice Color Collection here in the studio, and you saw me working with it last week, and I showed you the new trowel and I showed you all the new colors. Well, there have been a little snafu with me getting this stuff. So my first order originally went to an old address or something. It went wandering, but whatever it was, it disappeared. Well, it suddenly appeared on my doorstep today. So the new Lusterstone Ice colors, you can see still in the package. Our next contest, this package is going to be the prize. Haven't decided exactly how the contest is going, but keep your eyes open because the winner will receive a brand new, unopened, I'm just going to cut my own packing slip off of this and ship this to you in this box this way. You will have a brand new set of Lusterstone Ice colors. They are not really available in, I just threw that on the floor, sorry. They are readily available. What I'm saying is that they are the newest colors and they are super, 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 super wonderful colors. And they've just been putting out the kits so everybody can get sample sizes. Instead of buying quarts, you're getting 16 ounces of each of the 5 new colors. I had a kit here for the studio. This is an extra that was a replacement. We're going to go and give this away. So keep an eye out for whatever we're going to do. I don't know what it is yet because I just figured out the last week's contest. And Desiree, who is our winner, her package is being shipped out tomorrow. It was pouring rain out today. And I didn't want to take the chance of soaking myself or her package to get it to the post office. And obviously, it's 8 o'clock at night and I'm still here in the studio, so I can tell you what that is. All right. We're going to move down into our projects for tonight. And they are all 100% seasonal. So here we go. You can see my table in front of me, blank. We're going to work on a couple different projects. Now, we carry these gorgeous pumpkin cutouts. See, the back is painted as well. These come in raw wood. We don't do anything to them, and you can do whatever you want. This is my one that I had worked on last year, but never quite finished it to my satisfaction. So what I had done is I applied Artsyville foil adhesive, then applied a stencil, released the pattern with the stencil, and then foiled over it all over again. But I thought it was so subtle, you kind of lost a lot of the detail. So I had outlined everything with our Decofoil liquid adhesive. And I'm just going to do a quick little demo on how we do that, and it just scribble writes. It's got that little writer tip on it, so I can just follow the lines of the pattern. And get a really pretty result out of that. And let's see, I think there's a little bit of something over there. It's kind of, these got thrown into a box last year at the end of the season, thanks to my back. So some of them I'm really redoing this year just because I'm not real thrilled with how they survived the packing. Okay, so all I did right there is just draw around the pattern that had already been released by the foil adhesive. I'm going to give you a little tip. This scribble writer comes with a cap that you can just push it in and then you store it upside down. Unfortunately, and I swear to you, it's me. None of that ever seems to work right for me. So really, most of the time what I do, too, is I take tape and seal off the tip. And it helps to prevent the tip from clogging up because you've got dry stuff in here. But if it does dry up and get clogged in here, you can take something like a needle or a picker like this, push the hardened adhesive out the nose, and then rinse the tip out completely, because there will be little hard globs of glue in there. Trust me, I've been dealing with this a lot today, so that's how I know that this is what's going to happen. So I'm going to just use a little foil on here to release different colors. So you can see I did all these vines here before with green, and I used our hunter green. So I'm just going to take it in little bits and spots and kind of manipulate it to make sure I got the whole leaf color covered. But our blossoms here, these blossom shapes and some of these leaf shapes are in a different color, so I will be using some of our Cosmo Brown, which is what I used in that in the flowers here. So I'm going to take the Cosmo Brown and rub it. The Decofoil adhesive, this liquid, is completely usable after it dries for an hour. It has to turn clear. So basically you're waiting for it to turn clear or for an hour to pass, whichever takes longer. You want to give it enough time to set up and give you a good release. But once you've got that on there, it will continue to be nice and flexible and adhesive until you release foil over it, which I love. Sorry for the jiggling. It's me rubbing on here. And it doesn't, I don't have to use a brush. And quite frankly, with this three-dimensional stuff, with the liquid, I don't like using a scrub brush. I find that it can, especially if it's just been freshly dried clear enough to use, I find that a scrubber can actually kind of rip at it and remove it from the surface. So I don't do that. I can't release right in here. I've got a little bit that still has to clear, so I'm going to come over on this side and do this. And yeah, we're going to be foiling everything tonight. So this is just me getting stuff ready for my window. My window is nearly complete. I spent most of today putting the lights in and putting the new bench in, which I'm sure you all saw my photos of. That bench came out so cute. I'm so happy with how that came out. Okay. There's a little bit of sticky glue on there. It still hasn't dried, and now it's sticking to my fingers. right, so I'm gonna take another little piece of our Cosmo Brown and just move it around him. Get some of these. Yep, that's working just right. Okay, and then I should use this here. I really like how this works. I think that makes a great three-dimensional aspect on this when I thought it looked a little dull, a little flat when I did it the first time. So I'm very happy. I gotta move things around so I can reach them. Okay, let's get that in here. And sometimes I'm really bad in the studio about top coating things that I'm just doing for myself. But it also works to my advantage because I already had this ready to go for me to put more adhesive on it today because I didn't seal it up. So I know sometimes when I'm doing stuff for myself that I may want to go over it again. And I may not feel like fighting with a top coat, so... And it's only for decorative stuff. If I was doing this for a piece of furniture, you can guarantee it would have been top coated 2 to 3 layers. I am a belt and suspenders kind of top coater on top of things, so I like to make sure that everything's well sealed when I'm doing it for a furniture piece. But you know, for something like this, sometimes I don't top coat it because I'm doing too many things and I forget. But sometimes that actually works out to my personal advantage. It's not what I'm recommending. Don't think that's what I'm doing. I'm just telling you, if you forget to top coat something every once in a while, you're not going to die. Okay, let's get this in here. I don't think I'm gonna get enough. I've used up a lot of this foil. It doesn't look it like when I flip it over, but when you see this side, oh my gosh, you can see how much I've already used up. So I may need a fresh piece of foil. You can see I didn't get a real full release on that. I gotta start moving things around a little, finding the last little solid bits of foil on here. But you know what? This job would be a good job for scraps. When we send you scraps with your packages, it's not garbage. It's a chance to play with a little bit of foil that you might not have in your repertoire. So don't throw them out because this is what we use the scraps for, these little odd pieces and odd placements. Okay, that's still drying there, so I can't lay the foil down there. How do I know it's still drying? Because while you can't see it real easily on camera, there's a opaque spot here and here and here, which means then that the adhesive hasn't dried enough for me to get a good release, and more likely what I'm going to do is damage it and make it a crappy finish right there. And that happens. Sometimes I just happen to have a little heavier hand in some spots when I'm squeezing the adhesive out of the bottle. Okay, let's get it over here. Let's get this big one right here. And as you can see, I've done all the release on this with just my fingers. I really like how that came out though. I'm very happy. and that'll do that one right there. And I just go back over it because, you know, when you start using up the foil on this side, you're going to have little skip spots. So you may have to come back and do stuff. I'm not going to foil that because it's still drying and it's really, really rainy here. So anything that I haven't foiled by the time I finish doing this video with you, I'm going to have to come back and do tomorrow. It's rainy, warm, humid. Well, actually, it's kind of cool, but it's been super humid here and super rainy, stormy, and that means things are very slow to dry. And there's no real reason for me to rush it. I can come back and work on it tomorrow. That's not a problem. So that's what I'm going to do. Come on there. There we go. That's still drying. Let's just roll things around. And actually, as I'm doing this, I realized I didn't have this hunter green last year at this time, so I was using olive. But the fact that now I've got some olive and some hunter on here, it's gonna make, you know, it's extra color, extra dimension, and I think it's gonna look really nice this way. I really like it already. So you all might remember from some of my past remarks that my husband and I tend to binge watch certain shows late at night, falling asleep. So our latest one has been rewatching West Wing, and I think we've watched the series from beginning to end, I don't know, 3 or 4 times now. But it was such a long series that you can easily get reabsorbed into what was going on. And again, I am just in awe at how good the writing was on that show. Witty, eloquent, timely, just amazing. Okay, so now you can see where we went with this. Now, there's still spots that have to be filled in, and I still want to kind of clean up this area, but it needs to dry. So it was much flatter looking before, and now we have this sort of wonderfully delicate, viney pumpkin that I'm very happy with. And you know what's going to happen too? Once this is dried, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do something different on this side. And we'll probably do a live on that. Just so heads up, we're going to be working on some wood stain stuff this coming week. We have some boxes to be playing with for decor. I've gotten some of these galvanized pitchers. We're going to do some seasonal flower arrangements using the pitchers, and we'll be doing the decorating on the pitchers later. But not in this live. That's later this week. So I'm going to throw all these little bits and pieces of stuff out of the way, and we're going to work on our next one. So last year on this side, I did this acorn. Very cute. It came out great. Love it. This year, we're going to do on this side too. Now, let me see if I feel like my camera's kind of way zoomed in and you're not getting a good overall picture. All right, so here's the acorn. I have rolled on, the background was painted a year ago. And then today I rolled on a layer of Artsyville foil adhesive. You'll see that there are some flawed spots here. This was all left over on the back from last year. I didn't bother to clean it up. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna do something awesome with it today. I can create the cap for the foil, for the acorn right here, and then I can do something different in the body if I want. And I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Now, this is a little tough because I can't tape it off the way I normally would because there's already adhesive on here. So we are going to use our walnut burl foil from V-Mask. And we're going to take a little time to get this right on here. And I just need to grab a scissor that I don't have. I have a little knife to cut the foils, but I actually need a scissor because I want to be a little more accurate. Now, this walnut burl foil that I have here, very limited edition right now. I have about 5 feet of it left. And the reason it's so limited is that we have not been able to get it, I'm trying to just figure out how to describe this to you all. Foils are printed with rollers, specialty rollers designed just for the purpose of printing on these foils. And let's see if that's gonna work. Pretty much, we're gonna give it a little trim. So some of the rollers were no longer in existence. They're in the process of remaking them, and eventually we will have more of this. So once the manufacturing is re-upped for it, wow, that was pretty good for guessing. Once the manufacturing is re-upped for this, we will of course stock it again. I just can't stock what I don't have and what's not available to me, but it will be back. I promise it will be back. Now this is one I'm actually working right to the seam here, even though it's in the middle, because I want a clean edge right along here because I'm going to put another foil underneath. I kind of do a lot of painting with foils, meaning I piece things together to create the full and final image that I'm working on. And as you can see, I'm warming it with my hand, but also if you look right here, there's a little bubble. And that little bubble, if I can get it, massage it and work it across the entire piece of foil, actually creates a really nice release for me. Because the bubble means that the foil material printed on the back of the carrier film is releasing really well to the surface and then popping back up clear. And that's one spot I can tell is going to be a little stinker because there's a little lump right there. So I'm just kind of massaging this bubble across the surface as much as I can get it because that's going to improve my release. Now, V-Mask foils. This foil is not fabric friendly, so don't think you're going to go putting it on clothes. It doesn't have the washability or the flexible nature that fabric foils have. Fabric foils can be used on every surface, but non-fabric foils cannot be used on fabric successfully. Not and have it last. I mean, yeah, you could transfer it, but it won't hold up. You'll be very disappointed. All right, see, I've got most of that into a bubble now, so it's gonna come up really, really well. Oh yeah, really well. And the places that it didn't, where I didn't have that nice little bit of a bubble, but I'll go back in and work it in there. Darn it. My little toothy brush. Let's not get that stuck down there. Huh. I may have put the adhesive on. I put the adhesive on really half-assed, so there's actually no adhesive here. I'm trying to stick foil to a spot that has no adhesive. Oh well, I'll fix it later. That's what I do. I basically just poured some adhesive on here and rolled it on. I do some very creative manipulations and ways of putting things together. So I'll just touch this spot up with a little more foil adhesive, but otherwise, look at that. That's a great release on there. I will tidy up the spots that are not where I'm happy with them. And tomorrow, it will look amazing. So this is our blooms stencil. We're going to start with that right here. Stick that down. And I had colors picked, if you can believe me on that. There it is. I just can't reach that far. My arms are short. Okay, we're just going to use little pieces of our Jaguar foil. Yes, I could have torn this nice and neatly. I could have cut it neater. I didn't happen to have the scissors. I poked at it with the knife. I made my own life harder. It's no big deal. I've been making my own life really hard all day today. It's been that kind of day. As soon as I pick up one thing, I turn around and bump something else with my butt and knock it over. Yeah, it was that kind of a day. Now, I could go into this design with a stylus and really go at it. I'm not going to. Not tonight. I'm not in the mood. If I think it needs pumping up of details, I'll use the Scribble Writer foil adhesive tomorrow. And I know not everybody knows what I mean by Scribble Writer. So Scribble Writers are and this goes back to when I was a kid, so that's why I call them that. Scribble Writers are those bottles, I'm sure you all remember puff paint for fabric. And they came in what they called Scribble Writer bottles, which are bottles with the little writing tips. And so ever since then, I have always called those little bottles Scribble Writer bottles. I'll set that to the side for a moment. Let's go in here. Just want to make sure I don't get that on the other sticky parts that don't have the stencil over it yet. Oh, that's fun. I really like how that's coming out. Check my spots just to make sure I haven't missed anything. And it's really helpful, especially when you're working on colors that are similar to the pattern that you're releasing over the color. Kind of shift your head around, make sure you've checked the light and the reflection to make sure you've gotten all the spots in case you miss something. All right, let me lift this up. This edge does not want to lift up. My fingernails weren't going under it, so use a little something else to lift it up. Okay. And we're using our registration marks that were created by the first layer to place, or the first placement of the stencil to move and place our second movement. So all of these little dots here and here, they all end up being registration marks that allow you to remove or reposition your stencil around your surface. So they are important. Don't ignore them. Not if you want a good result. love this stencil. I think this is so sharp. Now, a whole lot of skip spots right in here. A lot of skip spots in this too. I have to say surprises me a little. I didn't get in there and rub it with my fingers, that's why. I'm very hands-on with my work, literally. I gotta stick my hands into all of it because getting my hands on something gives me a real feel, all puns aside, for how it was built and how something is going to lay out. Quite frankly, sense of touch is a huge thing for me when I work. My hands are, I feel all the paint products, it gets on my hands, so I know the consistency and the texture of everything, and I like that. It helps me. Okay, so now I have to find, there we go. I think that goes there, and then that should sit there. There we go. That little edge right there and get it all in. Lay this over that one little exposed spot up there. I wasn't getting a good feel on it. So we are in the day after Labor Day. I know a lot of people's kids are going back to school or figuring out the new stay-at-home protocols. So I wish you all the best on that, because I know I'm lucky. I don't have a child that's school age anymore. I don't know how you all are going to handle it, so you are always in my thoughts. Oh my gosh, this is coming out so cool. Okay, let me get this in here. My husband's at home probably wondering, is she on that camera again? What does she talk about all the time? By the time I get home, I tell him I don't know what I was talking about. I was just talking. He laughs at me a lot. Thank goodness, because I don't know what he'd do if he didn't laugh at me. Probably wouldn't still be married. I'm going to post a video in a little while so y'all can see how the studio window looks in the evening lit up. I apologize in advance for the shrieking teenagers in it. They saw me out there with the camera and deliberately got louder instead of quieter. I don't know. They must have thought I was looking for the next YouTube star or something. Look how cool this is coming out. Oh, like, this is just awesome. Okay, let's line these up. There we go. Sorry folks, my back is spasming a little bit. It's hanging all the lights and stuff in the windows. Today I was in some awkward positions and yeah, my back's mad at me for doing it. Okay, let's see how we came out here. Just a few little spots that need some attention. Spot there. A little bit there. Just get this lined up. There we go. And there's the last little bit to be released in our Jaguar pattern. Okay, I think that has it all. All right, so again, we've already got a killer pattern on here. We've got the burled wood on the top. We have the, oh gosh, sorry, things are sticking together as I'm trying to move them. We have the gold Jaguar background, and now I just have to figure out what I want to put in the background of this. And I thought this might be fun. Now this is going to make it very textury, and it's going to make the rose pattern, the blossom pattern, a little harder to read, but that's actually okay with me. That'll be exactly what I needed to be doing, which is creating a new look. I'm going to take my green off of there. This is our kiwi leopard color. Oh, thank you, Sandy. I love this stencil too. It's on our website, paintedstudio.com. This is the Blooms stencil. So we're gonna put this over here. And yeah, I could have done a solid color, but that would be awfully dull. And I can't bear to do something that predictable. I'm looking to see, there's my bigger scrubber. So I'm going to release this on here, and then I've got a little spot on the bottom, and if you notice, my foil is not scrubbed all the way to the edge because that will make the background not have a seam. I don't want a seam where I'm filling it in. I just want to have a nice blend. Okay, that came out so cool. And it's really hard now to see unless you look close to see the stencil pattern, because what this has done is just created a killer texture that way that looks very organic and kind of rough. So I'm really, really happy with it. Other than I need to get a little more release right in this area. There we go. Because this is the area that I kind of got a little icky. So I want to make sure that all the icky I did there, I make it hide. So all I'm going to do is touch up this spot here and put some new foil, because you can see I rubbed a little bit off on the one spot that I didn't release, and then this has got not enough adhesive. Or I could just kind of paint some highlights on with adhesive and sprinkle glitter on it and go that way. I haven't decided yet, but that's tomorrow's project. All right, so we're down with one last project tonight. Oh, you're all like, oh God, stop, just go home, go to bed. So this is one I had left over from last year, and I picked this up at Michael's, and it was raw wood, and I painted it black. So last year, I did this with it, which is okay, worked. It says till death do us part on that. I am bored with that one. We're gonna go with some holographic leopard and have a little fun with this. Let's have a little fun here. And again, I just brushed on the Artsyville foil adhesive on this and let it sit up for a minimum of an hour, or set up for a minimum of an hour. And this, I will tell you, this surface was not sanded smooth before. So, you know, I don't always get the greatest release on these, but I kind of like that too, because it gives it a very vintagey, distressed look. And this is our holographic gold leopard. And the reason I'm using this versus the regular bronze leopard, which is very gold to it, gold too. I like that little bit of iridescence when I'm doing holiday decor. And if I don't like it, I'll paint over it again. And in some places, my finger gets a better release on this. In some places, the scrubber does. A lot of times, my hands are really hot tonight. So my fingers are sometimes the best things to use to release foil when they're hot like this. Like, yeah, you wouldn't want to put chocolate or ice cream or anything in my hands right now because it would just melt. Which is funny because a lot of the times I can be very cold, but my hands are just, have been really hot lately, so I'm taking advantage of it. The heat from my hands helps the transfer because most foils, even fabric ones, are generally accustomed to being released with heat, so a little extra heat from my hand doesn't hurt anything. And I think it's releasing better with the heat from my hand than it was with the brush. And I'm right, it is releasing a lot better with my hands. Just depends on the surface and the day. What can I tell you? Need a clean edge to get in here. So I'm sort of working around the figures in the middle because I like to do them a different color. this up a little bit. And I think if you watched me the other day, you saw me using this for some of the small figures I was working on for Halloween, which are now in the studio window and available for purchase. Sorry folks, I'm paying attention to what I'm doing so I don't screw it up too much. So the chatter goes quiet when I'm trying to piece things together. It's a good thing I have a lot of foil. That's better. Wasn't happy with the way it was releasing with the toothbrush. I didn't feel like I was getting enough of the pattern. But just doing it sometimes with my fingers is the best solution. So now you can see I've got my holographic, well, you can see I've got my holographic leopard, and then I just have to do the figures. So now, and then I have to do that guy too. So I'm sort of going back and forth with what I want to put on it. I have some Nova glitter. I have some Bailey's, a Berkeley squares. I think that's Berkeley something. I have green leopard, but we just did a lot of that. We have the hunter green, which could be gorgeous. I'm not going to do the burl wood. Let's see, what else have I got? I think that's pretty much all I got sitting here. So throw me an idea. What are you thinking? What do you think? This is going to be this. I also have this that I don't think the silver camo is the best combination with that. I just think it would be not seasonal. So, I need an idea here. Do I like that together? Sure, let's do that. This is not a foil I use as much because it's not a color palette that works for me on a lot of projects. But why not just use it today? And I'm going to release it with my fingers again because, as you noticed before, the warmth of my hands actually releases better on this surface than using a scrubber. Oh, that's fun. And a little more release right there. Oh yeah, that came out fun. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'll probably reposition this whole thing over this again and give it a scrub with a brush just to make sure I was getting it all. And maybe on this side I'll write happily never after. really well there. So I think I just need a little more attention to this up here. You never know. Each foil does things a little differently, so what seemed like a good idea with one might need something different with another. Each, you know, it's funny how each of these can be just that much different. Yeah, there we go. So look how cute that is. Oh, I like that. What a fun combination. Oh, I like this. And again, this will go in my window. I'll be selling them. They'll be on the website. But of course, if you want to do them yourself, we have the materials for you. All right, so now that I've got my skull on, and I'll probably shed red glitter everywhere, but that wouldn't be the first time. Let me take a second to scroll back and see if there's any questions that I need to answer. No, it looks like by the way, you all are so complimentary. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for enjoying my headband. Now that can come off because we're signing off now. So it's time for me to go back to the spooky. We're signing out for the evening. Have a good night. You'll see this on me a lot during the next few weeks. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up tonight. It's late. I'm punchy. Have a good one, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.